Ooh, a lovely cup of cappuccino. Well, anyway, welcome to Sports Extra, your premium online sports show. Rubimbo Chakureka is my name. I'm your host today. Unfortunately, I'm flying solo. And the only reason why that is so, because many of the pundits and analysts I called were not coming through. Why? There are the Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal supporters, and they were really afraid of what I was going to be able to say on the show today. Manchester United, the Premier League season is starting, so don't forget to make sure that you subscribe onto our Sports Extra Fantasy Football League. We do have the link. It's on our Facebook page. You can look forward to it. Join it because there's going to be a prize at the end of the season. So make sure that you join. Get your friends to join as well because the first match is on tonight and you don't want to miss out on that. Also, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. That is our Facebook page and Instagram handle. It's at Sports Extra Zim. And the extra is without an E. Whilst you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's Sports Extra, and the extra is without an E as well. So make sure that you subscribe, like, share, as well as comment, because we value your comments as well. So let's look at a quick couple of headlines locally, looking at three. That is for the Warriors and the Mighty Warriors. Our Warriors have dropped down in rankings. Our Mighty Warriors are going to the COSAFA Women's Championship. Zimbabwe Cricket is sending an emerging side to Namibia as they prepare for the T20 World Cup qualifiers. Internationally on the transfer zone, we've got Romelu Lukaku finally completing his move to Chelsea, whilst Liverpool have extended the contract of Virgil van Dijk. We're going to be looking at the Premier League matches. We're going to be looking at Rugby Championship action, as well as international cricket. England versus India, the test match, which is currently underway as well. So our Warriors have dropped down on the rankings. So what? Well, it does play a significant role. I must add, it does play a significant role. So the Warriors dropped 2 places down on the FIFA rankings, and we dropped 1 place on the African continent. That's the CAF rankings. So in the world, we're now ranked number 108. Which is quite disappointing, but nonetheless, that's our ranking. Whilst on the continent, we're now ranked number 26. What I don't get about the ranking system, as I've always mentioned, is that they give a number 1 place to somebody that doesn't even hold anything. So in Africa, Senegal holds the number 1 ranking amongst all of the teams in Africa. Yet the African champions are Algeria. Whilst in the world, we've got France, the World Cup champions, and it's Belgium who are ranked number 1. I mean, Belgium didn't even make it to the final of the Euro 2020. But anyway, these are some of the things that do happen. Now, how do the rankings affect us? Well, they'll affect us particularly on the draw for the Africa Cup of Nations, how we're going to be seeded. So we are going to be seeded in the lower pots, which will ensure that we are going to be drawn in a very tough group, which is something that you wouldn't want to have, particularly for our African rankings. So these are some of the things as well that affect us when we don't play enough football. When we play against lesser ranked teams, we gain less points. That's if we win. But if we win against a higher ranked team, then that will mean that we gain more points and then we're able to jump a couple of places in our world rankings. It will assist us in the World Cup qualifiers. It will assist us in the drawing for AFCON group seedings as well as group tournaments. And this is very essential for us. Hopefully, we can be able to sort that out at some point in our lives. But moving beyond that, we now look at our women's football, where Mighty Warriors are going to be playing in the COSAFA Women's Championship. They were drawn in a very interesting group, which has got 2 guest nations that have been invited. So we have Botswana. They are consistently a part of COSAFA, whilst we've also got Tanzania and South Sudan. Now, Tanzania has been doing really well, particularly with their men's football, and you would think that the overall aspect of football in Tanzania would be improving. So that will prove to maybe be a tough tie for Zimbabwe when we do play them. And then we've also got South Sudan. We haven't really seen much of their women's football and how they go about things, as well as Botswana continues to improve. So My take, I think we're going to really struggle at the tournament. Our women have not played any form of football ever since sport was initially shut down with the first lockdown that happened in Zimbabwe. That was in 2019. So it's going to be a very tough task for the women's national team to actually proceed to the semi-finals. And this is how the COSAFA tournament is set. It will have 3 groups, and the top teams in those 3 groups will proceed to the semi-finals. And then the 4th team will be made up of the best runner-up out of all the 3 groups. So that is what I believe that Zimbabwe should try and aim for. If they can win the group, which is touted to be the easy group, then it would be great. I wouldn't have wanted to be in the South African group, which had the likes of Mozambique and Angola in that group. Those are very tough opponents. But all we can hope for is that our ladies are able to show themselves, to showcase themselves on the international scene and help, deal with the face of Zimbabwean football. Now, moving on to other news, we've got Zimbabwe Cricket, and they are sending an emerging side, and quite late, I might add. The emerging side is going to be playing against Namibia in a series that was put together to try and help Namibia be prepared as they go and play in the T20 World Cup qualifying tournament. Now, that is set to start this weekend. Our boys have not been playing any local cricket whatsoever, and so it's going to be very difficult. However, for Zimbabwe Cricket, they have said this is an opportunity for us to blood in the youngsters and to increase the player base that we have, so that our selection process becomes more and more transparent and becomes more and more difficult, I would say, so to speak, to help the national team improve in its performances. So we've got 5 under-19 youngsters that have been included in the side. Then we've got the likes of Chamuchi Baba, we've got Daniel Jackiel, we've got Carl Mumba, we've got Richmond Mutumbami that have been added into the side to just have a certain level of experience to also make it very competitive. They're going to play 3 T20 internationals and 3 one-day internationals in that particular series, which begins this weekend, and we'll be keeping tabs on that to make sure that, we'll let you know what happens in that. So don't forget to comment and let us know what your thoughts are, particularly on what is happening on the local scene with our football, with our cricket as well. Do let us know, give us your analysis. We value it because you are our listener as well as our viewer, and we take that into consideration. We're taking a short break, and when we do come back, we'll be talking about international action as it's happening this weekend. The Premier League is back, my people. Bundesliga, La Liga is back, but I had to say Premier League is back. So stay locked on to Sports Extra. On the international scene, you can't talk about anything without mentioning that the return of the Premier League season is here. The 2021-2022 season is kicking off this evening, and I'm sure all the bets are out. But do make sure that you are also putting your money where your mouth is, particularly on subscribing to the Sports Extra Fantasy Football League. We've set it up. A couple of people have joined, and you can also click on the link on our Facebook page at Sports Extra Zim, and you can join that same fantasy football league. I've put my team together. I'm not quite happy. I'm sure I'm going to be fixing it once I get off the set in order to make sure that it's ready for the Premier League season. However, some big news coming through on the transfer market. Chelsea have completed the signing of Romelu Lukaku. Others call him Big Rom, others just call him the goal-scoring machine who is underrated within the world. And that signing has been completed for $138 million US. Well, let's put it into context for those that love pounds. It is 97.5 million pounds. So that's the second highest transfer to be completed, particularly in this transfer window this summer for Chelsea. Did Chelsea need him? Of course they need him. Why? Because they've been struggling for goals. Timo Werner was the man who was tasked with that last season. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to deliver. He really struggled in front of goal, missed a lot of opportunities, was running offside all the time. But that should be dealt with the coming in of Romelu Lukaku. What are the qualities he brings to the side? Well, for one, he can hold up play. So he can receive the ball, he can bring others into play, the likes of Kai Havertz, the likes of Timo Werner, also the likes of Hakim Ziyech, who unfortunately got injured in the UEFA Super Cup win for Chelsea. But all these are dangerous players who, if they can be brought into play, can make Chelsea even more lethal. The likes of Christian Pulisic coming off the bench will also benefit from the kind of play that Romelu Lukaku brings in holding up play. But not only does he hold up play, he scores goals. When he was at Manchester United, he scored 48 goals in 96 matches for the side, and he was considered to be a flop. This is a goal in every 2 games. In every 2 games that he played, he was able to score, and even then, he was struggling for form. He went through to Inter Milan and he was a goal-scoring machine again, scoring 20-plus goals in the 2 seasons that he was there. Around about 44 goals in 84 matches that he played for Inter Milan. So that also shows you the caliber of the man. At Belgium, he's a goal-scoring machine. And why not? You've got Kevin De Bruyne supplying the ball for you. Why wouldn't you be a goal-scoring machine? So I think this is a fantastic buy for Chelsea. It will make them a beast in the Premier League as well as in the Champions League. Whether they'll retain the Champions League will be another story. But in terms of contending for the Premier League, they definitely will be in there. So continuing with the transfer zone news, you've also got Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool. Now we all know that he was the stalwart within the defense of Liverpool, made sure that the ball coming out of the back was swift, as well as giving that security at the back. He was injured, he was out for a very long time, particularly for the rest of the season. Last season after that injury against Everton in the Merseyside derby, but he's back and hopefully he'll be back with a bang. That is for all Scousers supporters. Now, an aging side, but look, age and experience will also get you far if you use it in the right way. So with that contract extension, you feel that Liverpool will be more confident of going on and playing that heavy metal football that we know they can play, where they score goals for fun. You can score them 3, but they will give you 5 or 6, and that's what Liverpool will be banking on. Will they be title contenders? Personally, I think they will be more of Champions League places contenders. I don't think they're in the title race. But hey, guess what? The Premier League is here to surprise, and here to surprise for sure. So let's look at some of the matches that will be coming up this weekend when it comes to the Premier League. But before we get there, we spoke to a number of individuals within the city centre in Harare, and they gave us their predictions on who will win the Premier League and why. So we're in the middle of the city of Harare, right here at Sporting ID at Rezende, a bus terminus. And this is where I usually get my sporting jerseys. So let's get inside and let's hear the prediction. The Premier League season kicks off this weekend, and we've got a lot of Premier League fans that get their jerseys from this particular shop. So come, let's hear. My boss.
Yes.
Heavy stuff.
Yes.
So welcome to Sports Extra. Ndara Trudota some predictions.
Yes.
This season, Changachaya, Chelsea supposedly are supposed to see Lukaku deal. Man City yatenga Grealish. Man United yaita to Mabay's Twayo. What is your prediction? Who is going to take the Premier League title and why?
No doubt, me being a Man U fan, I will always say Man U are the league contenders. Always. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. So I'll go for the Manchester clubs. Man U number 1, Man City number 2. Number 3 I'll give it to Liverpool. Then number 4 I will go for the Zuko team, Chelsea.
Alright, why do you think Man United has got a better chance this season?
I think the factor who put this time around, fans being around, I think they'll push the guys. We have been too close a couple of seasons for a cup. So I think the league will be starting point for us. We will take the league definitely because of the new signings. Our team's got a little bit of depth, and I think the guys are eager to impress the fans since they're back.
All right. Yes. So Man United, then Man City, then Liverpool, then Chelsea. And then Zumbo Chelsea number 4.
Hi, Mr. Chakorekam. I am Simbarashe Jafari. I think Chelsea is going to win the Premier League title for the 2021-2022 season. Otherwise, you're good. Thank you.
Well, we couldn't finish the city in terms of asking for opinion, but those were some of the thoughts that we actually got from some supporters, and I'm sure those thoughts will continue to grow on Word on the Street, which is another segment that we'll be bringing you and be featuring on the channel of on our YouTube channel, which is Sports Extra. So let's look at matches that are coming through. Well, it starts off tonight. Brentford will be hosting Arsenal in the first match of this campaign. Now, Brentford City are a surprise package. In actual fact, they've been playing really good football even when they were in the championship, missing out on promotion by a whisker when it came to last season's Premier League. However, this time round they were able to make it through, and we'll be looking forward to them showing what they can display. Now, they're coming up against an Arsenal side which has got a lot to prove this season. Nobody's giving them a chance of even being in the top 4. Maybe fighting for a Europa League position, but nowhere near the top 4, as many of the teams are now way ahead in terms of the quality they bring to the table. However, if Arsenal can get Alexander Lacazette, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Bukayo Saka to fire, as well as maybe retain the services of Martin Odegaard, who wants to leave Real Madrid in this summer, then maybe they might be able to pose a bit of a threat. Now, when they started last season, they played against Fulham, which was a promoted side. They won by 4-0, and Willian was looking like $1 million. But as the season went on, he went from $1 million to literally 2 cents. And he also has to prove quite a lot as to why Arsenal should keep him after having granted him a 3-year deal. So it will be Brentford versus Arsenal. My prediction for that match is that the Gunners will win by 2-1 in that particular match. I'll just play it safe. Premier League experience is necessary. Coming up from the championship, you might stutter the first couple of games and then get back into the rhythm. But anyway, let's look at other games that will be of interest. Well, my team, Manchester United, will be in action against Leeds United. Marcelo Bielsa, the last time he visited Old Trafford, he was hammered by 6-2 by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's counter-attacking football. They both played heavy metal football. An extremely exciting match it was, but unfortunately Leeds being on the losing end. I'm sure this time round he has learnt a lesson or two about how you play football in the Premier League, and so I would think that the winning margin might be reduced in that regard. Manchester United are full of confidence, having retained the services of Edinson Cavani, El Matador, and of course bought the services of the likes of Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane, who bring the much needed experience and flair that Man United will need to break down defenses. So my prediction in that game is that Manchester United should also win by 2-1 in that particular match. Now, there are also other matches of interest that will be coming through. Liverpool will face Norwich, but the big match of the weekend will be Manchester City taking on Tottenham. Now, that match is going to be huge for Pep Guardiola in terms of just the names. However, Tottenham, I don't think, will be in the best position. They do have Nuno Espirito Santo. I'm sure he'll bring in a different dynamic in terms of coaching. However, this is now a level up. He has beaten Manchester City before when he was coaching Wolves, particularly in the season when he beat them back-to-back. That was home and away. But he still had the services of the likes of Diogo Jota, who has moved on to Liverpool, and Raúl Jiménez was firing from all cylinders, with Adama Traore causing a lot of problems. But this time round, he doesn't have the services of all. He has got a disgruntled Harry Kane, who may not want to stay at Tottenham Hotspur. He has got the likes of a Wen-Min Song, who blows hot and cold, particularly in the absence of Harry Kane. But Manchester City have got the services of Jack Grealish, whom they've added, as well as the quality of their players that they've also retained as well. So it is going to be a very difficult match for Tottenham, and I think Manchester City should be able to blow Tottenham out of the water, winning by 3-0 in that particular match. Now also the La Liga will be kicking off this weekend. Most of the Spanish teams would want to get off to a good start, in particular Barcelona, who also want to make sure that the likes of Kun Agüero, Memphis Depay, Emerson are registered and are part of the squad. Real Madrid have also retained the services of quite a number of their players, except of Rafael Varane and their legendary captain, that's Sergio Ramos. So you'd think the likes of Eder Militao will come into the heart of that defense and try to make sure that it's stable for the Los Galacticos. Now we're going to take a quick short break. When we do come back, we're going to be talking about some of the other action that you can look forward to over the weekend. For all rugby fans, in particular the Rugby Championship, South Africa will be taking on Argentina. No guesses as to who many people will be touting to win that match, particularly since Siya Kolisi's side completed the double. Now, what is the double? He completed winning the World Cup with the Springboks, and that was in Japan in 2019, and winning the British Irish Lions series, which ended just a week ago. And it was really, in my view, a pretty boring series. But nonetheless, they did the business that was needed and they won that series. So now moving on to the Rugby Championship, it's not going to be hunky-dory. Argentina are a very confident side, and we know the quality that they bring. They have got flair. If you give them the ball, they are going to run riot. Now, South Africa are well known for their defense. They're well known for being brutal, for making big hits using their big forwards. But Argentina are now seemingly matching these teams pound for pound, particularly with that big win that Argentina picked up last year against New Zealand on home turf. That was on New Zealand's home turf, and there was a lot of backlash that the players got for that, and so big changes were made to the New Zealand setup in order to try and accommodate for that, and it seems like the team is gelling well. But for Argentina, I think they will be looking to their captain Pablo Matera, and he will be bringing in all the experience and the quality that he has. And do you know that he signed for the Crusaders in New Zealand? Now, when an Argentine player can sign for the Crusaders, it shows that he's a man of immense quality and immense talent. So you can be expecting that. One thing I will say for sure, Argentina will be looking to cause penalties, particularly in the Springbok half, so that they can use their fly-off who's able to convert. Particularly their fullback is a wonderful kicker. And so you'll find South Africa will have to avoid the penalties there if they intend to survive, because Argentina will not miss out on opportunities to keep the scoreboard ticking. I know South Africa will want to push for tries, but if Argentina can hold on in those particular aspects, not concede any penalties, particularly within their own 22, then they should be able to go forward. But if the pride of the South Africans will go ahead of them, then they'll want to push for tries. And that is where Argentina can take advantage and maybe try to turn it over. Now let's look at cricket that is happening around the world. We do have the likes of Pakistan and West Indies. They are also playing in their series. We saw what happened, particularly in the T20 internationals. It was a humdinger of a series, and West Indies coming out of that one, and Pakistan, however, showing that they can hold their own in the Caribbean, and so we'll see how that one will also pan out. But our eyes and our focus will be on the test match between England and India. The first test was drawn, unfortunately disturbed by a whole lot of rain that comes through in England. However, we can tell you that India started off fantastically with the bat on day one. They went to the close of play on 276 for the loss of 3 wickets, with KL Rahul scoring a century, which was 127 not out. Unfortunately, this morning. He got out without adding too much, and so he got out for 129. Other strong contributors were Rohit Sharma opening the batting with 75 as well. So India's batting, particularly the top order, which has been failing them in the last couple of test series, has come to the party in this series. And maybe with that change of KL Rahul coming on board. However, their captain continues to struggle. He went out for 42 yesterday, and it was a very laborious 42 that he scored, and being bowled and caught. That is Ollie Robinson there. So there is still a lot more work that Virat Kohli has to do, particularly on the mental side of things. I don't think he can struggle with his technique. He's got a quality technique, but he seems to be struggling with his mind, where to put himself, particularly with balls that are being bowled just outside the off stump. He seems to be nicking them into the slips and nicking them straight behind to the wicket keeper. Not so sure what is happening there, but if he can get back to his flawless self, then I'm sure that will definitely work out well for India. Now, whilst India have started really well, you will feel that England will definitely have a say in how things will progress. Joe Root, who had been struggling, particularly within the last year, has really come to the party, particularly within the last couple of series. Now, in the last match, which was drawn, he scored a half century in the first innings. He scored a century in the second innings. So his confidence is growing. His technique is looking so much on point. The cover drives are sumptuous to watch, and that's what you expect from the likes of Joe Root. The question is, for all those around him, the likes of Dom Sibley, the likes of Dan Lawrence, who has also come into the side, will they be also able to come to the party and bat around Joe Root to be able to catch up with whatever total that India will set in place? We know also in the bowling department they are missing Stuart Broad, who tweaked his calf within the practice session, so he's out, and there won't be a Broad-Anderson partnership opening the bowling. But Ollie Robinson has by far been able to compensate for that loss of Stuart Broad. Their spin department is also suffering, so the question is, what happens in that regard when the pitch does wear down? We know what Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja will do for the likes of India, but who will do the business for England? And I feel that might be the sticky point. Look, I'm an India fan. I'm not an England fan when it comes to Test cricket. And so I'll be hoping that India will seal the deal when it comes to the end of it. Well, that brings us to the end of Sports Extra this week. You can catch up with all of our content. It is on our YouTube channel, Sports Extra. The extra is without an E. We are also going to be posting an interview of the one that we had with Zim under-20 rugby coach, that is Sean D'Souza, and we spoke about his history with rugby and ultimately what he's looking forward to achieve and do with his under-20 rugby side. They have been starved for game time, but hopefully that game time will come through for them to proceed forward. You can also catch up with some of the comments that were made by the people that we met on Word on the Street. It will be one of our playlists on our YouTube channel. So catch up with that, see if the predictions are right. Share and comment, tell us your thoughts as well, even on this video, on some of the stories that we have covered. We truly appreciate it. On our Facebook and Instagram handle, it still remains the same, at Sports Extra Zim. And remember, the extra is without an E. Until the next time, cheers.